Welcome. My name is Rob. I'm with Community Wellness Solutions. I work here in Quincy and in the Quincy area. So Community Wellness Solutions is an organization, or as my company has the focus of working in social justice, creating opportunities, and help disrupt the cycles of dysfunction and violence within our rural communities, helping us grow stronger, better families, and experience life experiences. This is a continuation of our process of talking about mental health and the positive elements of emotional health. Always brings up the question is, what is mental health? Mental health includes our emotional, physical, and psychological, social well-being. It affects how we think, feel, and act. It also helps determine how we handle stress, relate to others, make choices. Mental health is important at every stage of life, from childhood and adolescence through adulthood. We often talk about the things we don't want to be in our mental health. We also often talk about the things we don't like about ourselves. But during this, we hope to continue to talk about those parts of us that we want to, those embers of emotional health that we want to continue to assist growing through time. That's really where we're starting right here today. It's placing a high value on self-development. Healthy people understand the value of personal development, and they continue to learn and grow throughout their entire lifetime. I often remind people as I work in individual therapy with people that we're going to stop learning and growing when we're dead. I mean, that's just really the stop. We're no longer going to wake up and have that chance to learn something new or see something from a different point of view or to move forward in our life. That's both amazing and it's kind of anxiety-provoking as well, because we're going to continue to see things from a different venue, from a different angle. Think about as you do any task as you go through your daily life. Today, you may be okay at that task, or it may be a totally new task today that you completely fail at as you try to pick it up. But then as you continue to go forward, you seem to get better. And you continue to get better all the way through your life until one day you probably hit that 99%. 99% of the time you do it right. That doesn't mean you'll never fail, but you're continuing to learn and grow. And if we don't have that opportunity that we might do something wrong, we have no reason to continue to learn and grow. People that continue to spend a lot of time on personal development and place a high value on themselves continue to read, listen to others, have conversations, think differently, expand their ability to see things from a different person's point of view. That doesn't mean we agree with a different person. That doesn't mean we just accept blindly what they say. But we internalize what other people say. We know ourselves and we know how these things are important to us. And we take that and we put it back out to the world with our new opinion. Now that may be no change, that may be some pretty drastic change, or that may be having to go back and look for more information and research what we're saying to make sure what we're believing is what we believe. To continue our self-development, the first thing we have to do is deconstruct our values. We have to truly understand why we believe the things we do and how we go through life and how we interact with those values. Where do those values come from? Where did we learn them? Just because something comes from the past doesn't mean it's a bad. It just means we need to understand it and understand why we feel this way. If this value is something that we need to shift so that we can be more in line with what we actually believe or what we need to do today, then that's something we probably need to shift. We often see this today with people who are wearing masks. I'm not wearing a mask as I talk to you on the video today. And often, I make sure I wear my mask when I go out, not necessarily for my own personal safety, but because I recognize that I can affect others. And in my values, I will have choice for myself. But I try to make sure in my values also I respect the choices of others and their own personal safety. Because my safety is about me and your safety is about you, and we all get to make those choices for ourselves. Where did you learn your values? Did you learn it from your parent, your grandparent? Did you learn it from school? Did you learn it from a book? Did you come to an amazing place of worship that helped you figure those things out for yourself? Where did you learn how to have those values? What are those values? Do they come from how you grew up? Do they come from your status in a community? Where do these values come from? Think back, ask yourself several questions. What values were emphasized in my parents' house as I lived? Those affect us every day. We learn so much as a child, and it affects us as we go through our entire life. It doesn't choose who we're going to be, but it has a lot of effect on us as we do these everyday tasks. What were your values when you're stressed? What were the values of your family when you were stressed? How did you behave? As we understand and we create an awareness of that for ourselves, we have a choice. And choice is really what's important. Choice is really what mental health is all about. Creating a choice for ourselves, how we're going to think, feel, and behave as we go through our everyday life. When you say that somebody else made you angry, you're expressing the value that you have no control over yourself. When you say, I got angry because, that's saying I'm angry and it's my choice to be angry. And it's because of this thing. We can choose to turn down that anger and choose to have other emotions to go with it, because anger is really easy. But when we develop ourselves and we continue to grow and we continue to change, we can take that anger and turn it into frustration. And we can turn that frustration into a drive to make change and to help people as they go out to challenge the status quo, or to make these changes in our own individual lives as we want the changes to be. How, when you express your values, are you punished or rewarded? Are there people around you that just agree with everything you say and that's your reward, where you become high value because you have that social interaction? Are you the person that goes out and says the things that other people don't like and that you get punished and you enjoy that negative feedback that you get from others for not agreeing with them so that you get to feel important? I'm okay with either way. But I think it's most important in your personal growth to understand what you like and how you like it and make that choice for yourself. So you have that choice to go out and stir the pot. Or you have that choice to go out and just really sing to your choir and have people hear you. Both are awesome. Our personal values are not only affected by our everyday life, but they're affected by popular culture around us. Stop and think for a moment. How often are you affected by something you saw on TV? How often are you affected by a commercial? Because they're designed to get into our heads and make us think in a different way. I personally laugh at myself because often I know more commercial jingles than I do songs. And where other people will sing songs, I'll often sing commercial jingles, and it makes me laugh about myself because I understand how that came in. How that allows me to develop myself is I understand how the influences in my life have created this thought process and how I come through in every day and how I engage with people. And what that does is it increases my personal development, increases my self-development, because now I have a choice. When I have a jingle come up, like the Oscar Mayer Wiener jingle, I can decide whether I'm in a safe place and I can sing that and people around me will giggle because I'm singing to my choir, or whether I'm in some place where people are frustrated with my quirky sense of humor, and they'll be really frustrated with me and maybe express some anger at me for singing that jingle. Or maybe I can decide that I don't want to sing it at all because that's just not the right place or right time, because I don't want to draw attention to myself, and I don't want to make people angry. I just want to be okay right where I'm at. Popular culture in America affects everything we do. Turn on the news, think what you think, and then compare it to what's going on in the news. Turn off the news, think what you think, and then turn that news back on. I bet you've been shifted. I bet that you've had that microcosm of change come into your life. And that's both good and bad. And that's not to advocate for any one point of view over the other. That's just to say, as we listen to other people and as we tend to agree with those people, we tend to find more concrete analysis in our own everyday life. But as we continue our practice of self-development and as we continue our practice of growth, we continue to move on through that. We get to have a choice as to what we believe. We get to have a choice as to what we feel, and we get to have a choice as to how we go forward. We don't get to be the person that's set on receive and just does what other people tells us to anymore. It's amazing, it's powerful, and it's all about growth for yourself. As we give up that blind acceptance of what other people tell us what to do, and we define for ourselves what our future looks like, it is amazing how much more emotionally healthy and how much happier we are in our everyday life. As you go through this process and as you start looking at yourself and as you start thinking about how you're going through this process and how you're learning and growing, it's amazing to be able to do that for yourself. Read, talk, engage with others, listen to people you don't agree with, talk to people you don't agree with, read things you don't agree with, think about it all, and make a choice for yourself. If that's working for you, amazing. I'm so excited for you, and I'm excited for your future. If it's not, and you can't overcome this, and you feel depressed, anxious, or any of these other emotions that we really think of as negative, maybe it's time to talk to somebody. Reach out to Grand Integrated Services with amazing therapists all through the county, or to myself with Community Wellness Solutions or Bates Counseling Services right here in Quincy, or there's several other therapists in our area. If you're feeling overwhelmed and you're unable to process what's going on in your life and you feel like you're a danger to yourself or others, please reach out. If you need immediate help, there's multiple crisis lines within the county, whether that be the Grand Integrated Services crisis line, the Veterans Crisis Line, or the multitude of other crisis lines that are available. Thank you for your time. All right. Welcome, and welcome to our continued series on emotional health and positivity in emotional health. We often hear people talk about the negative elements of emotional health. We talk about why we're angry. We talk about where we're mad. We talk about what we hate. Here, we're trying to focus on the things that make our lives better. Today, we're going to talk about staying positive. But first, welcome. My name is Rob. I'm with Community Wellness Solutions. We work within rural communities trying to help disrupt the cycles of dysfunction, poverty, and trauma in our rural families, trying to help them move forward and create better lives for themselves outside of what they know right now. What is mental health? Mental health includes our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. It affects how we think, feel, act. It also helps determine how we handle stress, relate to others, make choices. Mental health is important at every stage of life, from childhood to adolescence, through adulthood, through the end of our days. So, we've been continuing the series talking about the elements of emotional health, and today we're going to talk about staying positive. You will rarely see a person with good emotional health complaining about their life. They're passionate, they talk about things, they experience things, they have that drive to make things different, but they're not going to sit there and complain and talk about the fact that they're powerless to make any type of change in their life. That difference between passion and powerlessness is positivity. When you feel powerless, you don't feel like you have the ability to make change. When you have passion, you will make a change, and you will be the change that is made. Just your force of emotion helps create that change of environment. Think about a day that you felt overwhelmed and tired and just not okay. And then a song came on, or somebody said hi to you that you really enjoyed talking to, or you came home and somebody had made the most amazing meal that you'd ever eaten. Think about that transformation in yourself and in your future. Before you had that, you didn't believe that anything could be different. But then magically, something changed. That's what it means to be positive. That's what it means to stay positive. You'll see someone you can accept the current hand they've been dealt with and deal with it positively. People that are positive thinkers, they solve problems. They don't stay within the problem. And not only do they solve that problem, they create that solution for themselves, and they grow and they change willingly. It's about creating hope, whether it's instilling it in others or instilling it in yourself. There is hope, there is change, and things can be better and things can be different. When we talk about positivity, we can always look back to where we started. It's really likely that if we look at evolution, that human beings survived because we really have that ability to be anxious, to be worried about things, to be constantly looking around, to have that hypervigilance. Because in our early life, when we were all focused on survival, that was really important, to know what we needed and know how to get it. You know, even as we look at infants today, they can be so helpless unless they have that person that cares about them. So if they've never learned how to feel safe, if they've never learned how to be okay, it's a process they have to learn through as they get older. And it's really hard for them to learn positivity. We know this is a natural emotion for human beings. And to shift that from that negativity to positivity can be really hard. That's why we have an entire profession that deals with people as they struggle through depression and helps them learn and grow as we go in a different way. It is hard, but simple to learn how to be more positive in our everyday life. Think about it as changing these overwhelmingness of anger, sadness, depression, anxiety, negativity that surrounds us on a daily basis. It's really easy to buy into that. But if we create moments, if we just connect back into that moment when we were happy, it doesn't matter if it was 10 years ago, it doesn't matter if it was yesterday, it doesn't matter if it's something we hope for tomorrow. But connecting to that thing that makes us happy increases our emotional being, and it helps us connect to more of those positive emotions that help us get through days with just a little bit more focus on the great things that are possibly out there. How do we create that hope? How do we create that change for our life? How do we move forward in a way that is going to make it the best possible outcome for ourselves? And then once we recognize that we can be okay, and we have enough, and we're safe, and we're no longer in that mode of survival, how do we help people around us? How do we extend this to others as they go through their process as well? How do we help people? That's a really good question. Well, the first thing we do is we foster optimism in ourselves. We recognize that things may not always be perfect, and that's okay. Let me say that again. It is okay to not be perfect. It is okay to struggle. It is okay to for things to be hard. And as a therapist, I'm really excited that when you face hard things and you overcome them and you're able to look back at them with optimism and say, yes, that was the hardest moment of my life, but I made it through that. Because what we can do in optimism is we can carry that forward. We can say, hey, I've been through hard things in the past. I got through them. You know, I don't have a plan for today, but I had a plan then, and it somehow worked out. So I'm going to create a plan today, and if this one doesn't work, I'm going to create another plan. And hopefully, it's our first plan that works. And if not, I hope it's your 50th plan that works. But if you continue to work forward, if you continue to work against this, and if you continue to take these ideas and bring them together and be optimistic about them, something is going to work. Something is going to make it better. And as we create more capacity in you and that ability to be more and more hopeful and more optimistic and to deal with that anxiety and stress as it's going on inside of your body or inside of your life, maybe we can have 5 plans going on at the same time, and hopefully one of them makes it. Hopefully one of them turns your life a little bit better. I wonder what would happen if all 5 of those plans turned out perfectly at the same time. That would be amazing, and that's what optimism looks like. We look at what could be the least things that would happen that would be okay, and what could be the most that would happen that would be okay. For me personally, if I wake up in the morning and I'm still breathing, I think that's a really great day. Even though I know I'm going to face stress and anxiety and deal with really difficult things as my days go on, I've had days where I didn't think I was going to live through that day. To know that I wake up every morning and I'm okay and I'm right here and I'm still breathing is pretty amazing. On my best day, I might win the lottery. Every once in a while, I have been known to buy a lottery ticket and spend that little investment in that idea, that dream of hope of what that could possibly look like in the future. That's not advocating for that to be your process. That's just telling you kind of what my process looks like. But wouldn't it be amazing if both I woke up that day and I won the lottery? That would be absolutely amazing. That's everything coming together and true optimism in the future. And I'm excited for what I could do if it was actually to win the lottery. That'd be pretty amazing because I'm okay. I have enough. And I wonder what I could do to help others. Just what I modeled right there, pumping up your optimism, thinking about what that possibility could look like. We don't want to be delusional and think magically we're going to win the lottery tomorrow. Though it does feel like magic when you buy that ticket and you get that thought. But that's not the truth. I'm almost 50 years old. I've bought lottery tickets for a lot of years and I've never won. But I still continue to hope and dream and think about what that possible future could be. Even though I have enough right now, it's still amazing to have that additional. Just optimism. It makes me happy just talking about it. And I hope it makes you happier as you think about it as well. That's the great things about these positive elements of emotional health. As we lean into them, as we think about them, and as we create plans that go around them, they make our life better. And they make everyone's life around us better as well. Because magically, as we're more okay with who we are, others are more okay with who they are as well. It's okay. It's okay to be different. It's okay to be strange. It's okay to be eccentric. It's okay to be whatever. Just be okay with yourself. And that's about as positive as I can be. If you're struggling with not being positive and that struggle becomes overwhelming, and you're having a hard time finding that positivity in your everyday life, we've got help for you. Once again, positivity and optimism. Grand Integrated Services is a great community mental health center within our own community, located throughout the county, and I hope you reach out to them if you're feeling like your days are too overwhelming to get through your everyday. Or reach out to myself or the other mental health providers that are here in this county. Life can be better. Life can be different. And hopefully, we can help you be more okay on a daily basis. If you have an immediate, see, I'm not perfect either. Isn't that great? If you have an immediate emergency and you're overwhelmed by the things that are going on in your everyday life, and you feel like you're so overwhelmed or stressed and you don't feel safe or you don't feel like others are safe in your presence, we have multiple crisis lines that you can reach out to and have somebody to talk to. Whether that gets you through that moment and helps you connect with some type of resources so that you can can create a long-term plan and a long-term change so that you can be okay, I know that help is out there. And I hope that someday that you can say that to somebody else, where you realize that you had a moment where you lost all of your optimism and you had lost all your hope for the future, and you were able to reach out to somebody for a moment or for a couple months and sit down and talk about what was happening for you and make your life better. Thank you, and welcome to our continuing cycle, or continuing discussion on the elements of emotional health. Here we focus on the positive elements of emotional health. We're so often overwhelmed by the negativity and the depression, the anxiety, the frustrations, the anger that is going on around us. But as we learn about what positive emotions can feel like, and as we learn what positive things we can do to change those emotions, we have a choice. Today we're going to talk about gratefulness. We're going to talk about practicing gratitude in everyday life. And some days that can be hard. I just want to start by acknowledging that right there. But welcome. My name is Rob. I'm here with Community Wellness Solutions. In Community Wellness Solutions, we work to find ways where we can disrupt the cycles of trauma, dysfunction, and poverty within our rural communities and help people live better lives and be their best person so that they can be happy and they can be healthy, helping us move forward in our everyday. What is mental health? Mental health includes our emotional, psychological, social well-being. It affects how we think, feel, act. It also helps determine how we handle stress, relate to others, and make choices. Mental health is important in every stage of life, from childhood through adolescence and even throughout our entire adulthood. Today we're going to talk about practicing gratitude. Even when we think about the worst day of our lives, even when we go into that moment where everything was horrible, I'd like to say other words because but those most horrible moments of our life, the day we didn't think it would got better, hopefully amazingly, in some way, in some small way, it got just a little bit better. Even if it was just surviving that day to get to the next, so you could continue to fight through it. That day got better. You got to move on. You got to do something different. And as horrible as it sounds, we can practice gratitude because of that. Practicing gratitude is a healthy way to attract more things you want in your life. If you want more love, be grateful for the love you already have. If you want more money, same thing. Be grateful for the money you already have. Healthy people understand and honor the law of attraction, practicing gratitude. They also understand giving thanks, for you are shifting your thoughts from the negative to the positive. And that's where it starts. We can be really upset about our everyday life and just not recognize how much we do have. And that doesn't help us. It's okay to have drive, and it's okay to want more. It's okay to plan and to learn and to grow and to continue moving forward. But if you just focus on this overwhelming state of it's not enough and I'll never be enough, that's often what we call states of anxiety and depression. And that it's okay to be unhappy. It's okay to say, I want more. I'm unhappy with where I am. But if it becomes so overwhelming that you can't effectively move or effectively do anything in your everyday life to affect change as you go through that, that's not healthy. If we practice gratitude for the smallest things that we have, it helps us as we go forward. I practice gratitude for my life every day. I'm a veteran and I've spent multiple tours in combat. I've had days where I did not think I was coming home. Didn't think I was going to see my children ever again. Didn't think I was going to have more of a life. Yet here I am. How exciting is that? How grateful am I for that opportunity to continue moving forward? How grateful am I that I have a chance to make more horrible decisions and go places where I could put my life in danger again? How amazing is that? As we practice gratitude, we notice we appreciate the positives in our lives, and it helps us increase our mood from that low to the higher state. As we talk about emotional health, being emotionally healthy doesn't always mean we're always going to be happy. It means experiencing the variation of emotions as they come through our lives. I personally have a chocolate lab that I love, that I've had for about almost 12 years. Someday she won't make it, as death comes for us all. And that makes me really sad. I mean, just the thought of it. I mean, and I can't even imagine the day when I lose that animal and I don't have her around anymore. And that makes me sad. But I also get to appreciate, and it makes me happy when I do think about the times I have had with her. And I get to be grateful that I continue to get to have time with her as we continue going through. There's many things we can do to actually increase our gratefulness. There's lots of practices, such as writing a gratefulness journal. If we sit down and we write a journal and we talk about the things in our life that we're grateful, it's really easy to sit down and fill pages full of the things that make us unhappy. Full of the things that make us sad, that make us angry, that frustrate us. It's too easy to come up with those things. I can do it on a daily basis. And I do this professionally. I think about the positive professionally. I help people reframe to come into the good every day. But I can have my negative moments. I have my bad days. We all do. But if you have a gratitude journal and you're writing down the things that you're happy about, and then you look back through it and you see multiple days of your life you're happy about this one thing, whether it be this loving animal that is always constantly in your life, whether you want it to be or not, or whether it's simply a popsicle, or whether it be you walk outside and it's a beautiful summer day with nice cool air and a beautiful blue sky and noticing the wind on your face and the texture of the trees, or whatever that may be. We write it down. And we recognize what's important to us. And that helps us move forward in our life. Another idea is to write a specific letter. Writing a letter to ourselves or to others about what we're grateful about in ourselves or our community. We often can pick up the newspaper and read these letters from people who are going to talk about the negative things that are going on inside of our community when we read these letters to the editor. How often do you pick up the newspaper and see somebody talk about how amazing our community is? How often do you pick up a newspaper and read the letter to the editor and see somebody talk about this amazing thing that happened in their day? What would it be like for you to sit down and write that letter? What's something you're happy about? What's something you like in this community? I can see lots of things that I like in this community, and I would hope that you could see the same things for yourself. Remind yourself to savor. I talked about going out for a walk and enjoying the weather, whatever it is. I enjoy when it's cold just as much as I enjoy when it's hot. So going out and enjoying that crisp air, or going out and enjoying that sun on my skin. There's only one time I don't really appreciate, and that's when it's windy. I struggle with that. But I can be grateful for the fact that I'm out on a walk. Savor those moments. Sit down, smell the roses, enjoy the trees, watch some birds. Eat your favorite food. There's nothing more great that you can be grateful for than sitting down and enjoying your favorite meal. Whether you're being grateful to the person that cooked it, being grateful that you were able to get the ingredients, whether you're grateful that you have a safe place to eat this meal, whether you're grateful that you went through the process and you enjoy everything about the process of cooking the meal, whether you're grateful for the flavors of the meal, whether you're grateful for the community that you get to hang out with while you're eating the meal. There are so many things we can be grateful for as we sit down and we savor that. And that's not even going into the flavor of the meal that we're eating, whether it be spicy or salty or have all these billions of spices that we can enjoy from all over the planet that we've been able to bring with us from wherever we came from or wherever we are or wherever somebody else came from that brought it to us. It's just amazing to be able to sit down and be grateful for that and recognize how amazing our lives really are. Share good news. It's always a good way to bring yourself back into gratitude. If you talk about great things that make your life better, they're just going to make everyone's life better around you, because it helps people understand that life can get better and life can change. For myself, I think about COVID, which has been really hard. My son's in the Navy, and he's been gone for the entire time of COVID. Matter of fact, he was gone for about a year before COVID started, and the military wouldn't let him come home. This week, he got to come home. I'm grateful that my son got to come home for a couple days, even if he had to go back to work. I'm grateful I got to spend that time with him. And I'm grateful for the amazing human being he is. I have lots of things to be grateful for, and I get to share that great news. Just like I'm telling you to find things to share that you can talk about that are happy and positive, because they're going to make you feel better. I feel better myself. I feel a lot better as I get to talk about those things that make me happy. It's also important to avoid negative thinking. You know, one of the things we all struggle with are those automatic negative thoughts. I can think back and just as I was talking about with the past experience, having those negative thoughts that this is never going to end, he's never going to come home. Or what happens if he gets sick while he's gone and something happens to him there and then he can never come home. There are lots of negative thoughts that I could really have. But if we allow those to overwhelm us, even as I start giving an example of those thoughts, I feel like those things could start overwhelming me, and I could just make an endless list of what that could be. Endless list of those negative thoughts. But if I don't interrupt them and just remind myself, I'm okay, everything's okay, and we're going to move forward, and things are going to be different. If I don't express that optimism that I have learned and I've developed within myself, I can get wrapped up in those automatic negative thoughts. It's way too easy. We all do it. We all have those moments where we just think that nothing's right and nothing's going to go right. And nothing could go right if we continue going on in the future like this. As we continue to address those negative thoughts, and we address those negative thoughts in our everyday life, things magically seem to get better. It's even more interesting when nothing really changes except for our thought process as we deal with the things we're dealing with. That inherent optimism can help us as we go forward in our everyday life. Sometimes when we get stuck in that automatic negative thought process, one of the things that we can do that helps us interrupt this is think about our future life, not about the things that are going on right now. But think forward. Think what this is going to look like in a year. Think what this is going to look like tomorrow, next week, next month. What's it going to look like in 2 years? What will change and how will that change? How can we write that down? How can we change that thought process within ourselves so we can make things better? Set aside time so you can go into details. Make sure you have the details of what better looks like. You know, it doesn't matter if it happens exactly the way you have that plan written down. It matters that you create one thing on that plan. And if the first thing in that plan is to write this letter, you've already started on that path, and you have something to be grateful for. But everything after that is just gravy. It just helps. And we all love potatoes here in the Quincy area. So we have our potatoes. We just get to put gravy on top of it. If you're struggling to write, visualize. Think about what that positive outcome can look like. If you can take a minute or an hour, just sit down and daydream of what it could be if it was better. And you know what? When you come back from your daydream, you're exactly right. You're still going to be right here. You're going to be here today. But now we have hope. And with hope, we can do anything. As we look at things, we do this thing, it's called reframing. We don't just look at what happened and the way we see it today. We look for the silver linings within the moment. So, if I miss a meal today because I'm busy and stressed at work, I can be really angry and I can be really grouchy because I get really angry and grouchy when I miss meals. Or I can turn that around and go, well, I'm trying to cut calories and reduce a little bit of weight and change my body a little bit because I feel like I've gained too much weight, and that's what my doctor tells me. So I can change myself and recognize that, yeah, I did something today. I don't want to do it tomorrow. And I always I know everybody hates to fail. I love when people fail. I think when we fail a task so many times, and then one day we turn that around and we figure out how to do it the right way, I think we learn more from that than we do from doing a task correctly every time we try it. If we were one of these virtuosos we hear about on TV or in movies or in books that just pick up the guitar and they can play whatever they want, or you can remember whatever you remember perfectly, or if you could do any of those other things that get portrayed in movies where they just play a simple song and somebody goes from a complete failure at a task to the greatest expert in the world. As I watch people do that, I just struggle with it. I love it when people fail and then over time figure it out. That's the silver lining. The silver lining is the failure that we've experienced. The growth, the challenge, the moving forward, everything as we do that. It's really amazing, and it's an amazing process. It gives value to the things we've changed. And that value we can have gratitude for and help us go forward. Gratitude is so important in our everyday life, and I hope you find ways to express gratitude as you go forward. If you're struggling with gratitude, there's people that can help you in the community. We're not alone. We can reach out for help. If you just need to talk to somebody and you're feeling depressed or anxious, there's multiple mental health providers here in the community. You can start with Grand Integrated Services, our community mental health providers right here in the community. And Grand Integrated Services is spread throughout the entire community from Grand Coulee, Quincy, Moses Lake, and all the way down to Mattawa and Royal City. If you're here in the Quincy area, we have several mental health clinicians that work in private practice, myself included. And come see me. I'm right inside the clinic, the Sageview Clinic, right here at the Quincy Valley Hospital. If you have an immediate need and you don't feel safe, or if you don't feel like you're safe for others to be around, if you're going to hurt yourself or somebody else, please reach out. There are multiple crisis lines that are available throughout the county. Whether that be our local county crisis line through Grand Integrated Services, simply pull up their website and their number is right there on the website. Or whether that be one of the national crisis lines, please reach out. Because we all have something we can be grateful for, and there's always something we can have that's better for the future. If you have any questions, please leave a comment here on the video. And if we can address it better in the future, we'll definitely look at that and try to have that into our talks. Thank you, and I hope you have a wonderful day.